Everyone, Tracy from my Chow line. Just want to say, hey, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a great end of 2024. Now looking forward to 2025. Thank you so much for following along and staying with us. I know I've been not posting a lot on YouTube lately, so thank you though for continuing to follow, like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, with the hurricane in September, Hurricane Helene hitting the area, and then it just kind of snowballed with projects around here that need to be done. I lost the cover for my cooking area. It just, put a lot of things, priorities had to change. But now I'm trying to get back into doing more videos. Today we're going to be working on smoking a beef tenderloin. Now, we're going to get into all the stuff, but what we're going to do is we're also going to talk about Grill Your Ass Off seasonings, Platoon Sergeant salt, pepper, garlic, and then the Ma Deuce steak seasoning. We might throw some gunpowder in. We'll see how it goes. But I want to thank Grill Your Ass Off as a channel sponsor. Go to grillyourassoff.com/mychowline to save 10%, or use my Chowline code for 10% off. Also, I want to thank Armed Forces Press. They're also a supporter of the channel. They share and get the news out there, but they're also military news from all over the world. Follow them for unbiased news about the military and what's going on within our government and also with our standings in the world. So, Armed Forces Press, grillyourassoff.com. Now, we're going to get to cooking. All right, everyone. So here we have our beef tenderloin. So this is a whole USDA choice tenderloin, beef tenderloin that we got from Costco, choice grade. Couldn't find prime at the local Costco or even at Kroger's, all choice grade. So, but doesn't really matter. We're still rolling with it. Whether you've got prime, whether you got choice, or whether you got Wagyu, beef tenderloin is going to be prepped the same way just about for everyone. So we're going to get it out of the package, get it patted down, and I'll show you what we're supposed to do with this. All right, so here we have our tenderloin. We dried it off a little bit, patted it dry. Now you'll notice this thing's got lots of fat. It's got lots of silver skin. You can see this right here. That's what they call silver skin. It's part of what holds the muscle together. It's part of your tendons and stuff like that. It's really tough. You don't want that because it's supposed to be a tenderloin. Now there's a couple of things left on these besides the fat. There's a piece of muscle that you can almost separate by hand right here. I forget the name of what they call it, but anyway, we're going to separate that off. Save any of this stuff you want. You can save some of the fat. You can save some of the stuff and render it down and have beef tallow. And these pieces of meat we're pulling off will actually be good for other things. You could grind it up, make good for burgers. You can grind it up for sausage. You can grind it up and add it into whatever you want. Or you can cut it up in chunks, stir fry it, however you want to do it. You can slice it up small. The wind's kind of blowing today. And it's December here, so I'm filming this. This is going to be our New Year's meal, but you'll be getting this in the new year. But I'm short sleeves and shorts, man. It's unseasonably warm for here. I mean, it's still cool-ish, but not like cold at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and start peeling off some of this fat, get this piece of muscle separated, and I'll let y'all watch. We might speed this up so that way you can kind of see what we're doing here, and I'll try to highlight where I can. All right, on the back here, we've got these little ridges or flaps right here. We're going to trim these off as well. They got a lot of fat in them. And some of it, we're just straightening it up. We're not really trying to remove a ton of it. We're just trying to square it off a little bit for it, so it makes it nice and easy when we go to season this thing up so it cooks evenly. We don't want it too misshapen. Now there's a lot of hard fat right here that we want to get off of this as well, because when we're cooking this tenderloin, we don't want all that hard fat on there. It doesn't render down as well, and it could mess up the chew, mess up the bite. of what we're eating. Got it most of the way there. So what we're going to do is this is a really fat end. This is a really thin end. We're going to do the silver skin and stuff on the other side. But while we're on this side here, I wanted to show you, we're probably not going to cook this whole thing like this. We're probably actually going to take a good section of it that's closer in shape, the size, it's close to the same size, and then we'll save the other pieces. You can do them at the same time separately, and they'll be just as good. But we want to make a nice, clean looking filet roast that we can slice little pieces off for everyone. So it's going to be a kind of a different presentation than you would, like, say, filet mignon. We're smoking it whole, and then we'll slice it off after it's cooked to serve with our meal. All right, so now we're on the other side with the silver skin and the fat. So let's go ahead and get, a lot of this stuff will peel right off. And do that where you can. Now you can see here that silver skin goes between right here. And so we're going to go ahead and remove this section here to get to that silver skin. The edge of that silver skin. Helps to have a really sharp knife when you're doing this. In fact, I recommend getting a knife sharpener and sharpening your knives frequently during the process. Make sure you keep it sharp so that way you use minimal effort for trimming and you don't have to dig hard and end up going too far. Trying to remove this, I guess it's called the head. I forget what it's called. All right, so that's a good piece of meat right there. And like I said, I recommend you can trim this up a little bit more, and you can smoke this at the same time. It'll just get done at a different time, and it'll be a great piece of meat. It is part of the tenderloin, but for presentation, when you want to serve it on a platter, this is for like a fancy meal. You want to make sure you have it trimmed up nice. Now we're going to get some of this fat and sinew off here. So this is super expensive cut of meat to just be pulling all this off, so please save it, use it, freeze it if you need to till you have enough fat and stuff set aside to make your own beef tallow, or till you have enough to grind up burgers. It's a great way to do it, especially if you want to make deer burgers and you need some extra fat to throw in if you grind your own deer meat, you can take the beef fat stuff from this and throw it in there and have some fat in your pork or your deer meat instead of using pork. So if you're trying to help stay kosher or anything like that, where you just don't want to use pig fat, that'll work. All right, so let's get this silver skin. All right, so what I like to do is I like to weasel in and kind of point it a little bit towards the silver skin. Trying to be careful that you want to get as little of the meat as possible, and then you want to slightly turn the blade towards the silver skin and just pull. And that's what we're looking for. But that silver skin is tough. You don't remove that, it will not be tender. You get pieces of that'll be chewy parts, because it does not cook down, it does not render down, especially since this will be cooked to a medium temperature. So you're not going to be able to render down any of the fats as much as you think. So you want as little of that tough stuff as possible. Now if we were doing a brisket, you're taking it to 200 degrees internal temperature, you might be able to get away with leaving a few pieces of this, but we're going to medium rare. Even if you're trimming this stuff off later, you want to go ahead and trimming the tenderloin up later, you still want to remove all the silver skin, because any of the pieces that you do save, or you roast, smoke, grill separately, you don't want them to be chewy either. All right, there's still some more silver skin on the side. Yeah, you got to be careful when trying to pull the silver skin, because it goes in between some of the fibers, so it can actually tear the muscle. And that's what we're looking to do. That's why we want to try and use the knife to peel it up. Like with the fat, this film on the fat, you can peel that up by hand, because it's just got a gelatinous like membrane between it that you can peel it off. But the silver skin, it's actually part of the muscle. See, if you pull it there, see how it's pulling up the muscle there? So we don't want to do that. So we're gonna Like I said, you can go through all these scraps, save pieces of it. All right, so now trim up a little more. There's a little more hard fat right there. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to trim this off right about here and right about here. All right, so wish I had my cover. I got to build one now or get another pop-up tent. Anyway, all right, trim off this fat here. Now, I'm going to probably leave this like this. You could probably trim it up a little bit more, but I want to save as much as I can of this. Pick all the little pieces of fat that might be still stuck to the sides off of it. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up some string. We're going to tie this up, so we're going to cut out some pieces of string. I'll get back to you when we have that done. And we'll probably go ahead and do these as well, and probably go ahead and cinch those up, trim them up a little bit more. We'll probably cook all of them at the same time, just so that way we have some. But this is basically what we're looking at. This backside could probably be cleaned up a little bit more, but like I said, I'm trying to save as much meat as I can on this, and we'll get to it. Now it's going to marinate overnight. So once we get it seasoned up, tied up, we're going to vacuum bag it, put it in the fridge, and let it sit overnight. And then we'll cook this tomorrow because it is New Year's Eve. This is going to be for New Year's Day. So thanks again, everybody, and I will see y'all in just a minute. All right, so we've already bagged up all of our fat and extra stuff left over that we're going to save and put in the freezer for another time. We've got our pieces of meat here. Like I said, these aren't, this is more like your what you're not going to use for presentation, but you still cook it and you can serve it up as appetizers, or it can be what the grill master nibbles on while he's cooking, because some of these will cook really fast. So all right, so we've cut a bunch of butcher's twine for trussing up these, but now we're going to get into getting this set up to season these. So what I like to do is I like to put a little bit, just a little bit of, when I'm doing beef or a nice meat, I like to use a little bit of Worcestershire, just a little bit, and rub that around. Kind of like the binders that you see when they do pork and brisket and stuff like that, but I like the umami of Worcestershire, and since we'll be marinating these, it'll help add a little bit of extra to these, just a little bit. All right, so now platoon sergeant, salt, pepper, garlic, go up really high with it. And we're just doing a light dusting of this on these. Flip them. And if you want to taste the beef more, use a little less, but I recommend marinating it like this because some of it's going to come off as you pull it out, and as you wrap it and all that kind of stuff, as you pull it out of the bag and get it on the grill, some of it's going to fall off, but not all of it. But we're looking for a crust. You want to get some of those flavors on there, roll it around in it, make sure you get the edges. This Ma Deuce is a really great seasoning. Now, if you want a darker color on the outside, you go lighter with this, lighter with the salt, pepper, garlic, platoon sergeant. You get some gunpowder, and then you coat the outside of it with gunpowder. And I mean, coat it. You want it to be black looking because it's going to make a nice charred outside edge. You want to give you a really nice crust, because that's what they use on briskets and stuff. And that was, smoke will adhere to that pepper, give it some good color. All right, so now that these are seasoned up pretty good, Already starting to sweat a little bit. So now we're going to truss these up. Some of these other pieces, you truss them up how you want. Wrap them tight. What you want to do is you want to keep them in a consistent shape, so that way they cook evenly. Because if it's too thin on one end, too big on the other, the smaller end's going to be well done, and then the other part will be medium rare. So then, unless you happen to have people on your group, let's say you're doing this for a family meal, and you have people that want medium, well done, medium well, then you give them the end pieces, and then you take the center sections for your medium rare, or the bigger sections for your medium rare folks. So, but just be mindful. We try to keep this an even size all the way across, because my family is a medium rare folks. But when you have these others, you can provide that for them. So now we're just going to go every inch or so and tie them up and then trim them. So come back when we got them all tied up. Alright, so now we're just going to trim up the long edges. And this will get cut off after we pull it off. Trussing it up like this helps keep it in a nice consistently round shape, versus any kind of deformations that it has, like fat on the bottom and thin on top. You want to keep it nice and round. That way it cooks evenly. It's very important, especially when you're smoking, grilling, stuff like that. If you want to take and cook a fillet or cook a steak, if it's a fairly weird shape, what you do is a fairly thick cut. You can truss it up and keep it in a nice round shape, and it'll cook like a hamburger does. But you can maintain the temperature better that way and get a nice even cook. And that way it's easier to move too, so you don't end up with pieces doing all that. So if you truss it up, it helps. But you see that right there? That is what we're looking for. Trussed up, ends are seasoned. Get a little more on that end. And that's ready to be bagged up, or you could let it sit on a cooling rack, on a rack on a tray. But we're going to vacuum bag these up, just because I don't want them dripping anywhere in the fridge. I got a lot of other stuff in there, so we'll do that. Now this one, I'm going to wrap it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let it cook just the way it is. This one, though, because it's so small, I'm going to wrap it and tie it up in half. And that way it will stay in shape. Because round is a shape. Ha ha ha. That's what I say about myself all the time. I'm in shape. Round is a shape. Eating too much barbecue and drinking too much beer. And ice cream and hamburgers and french fries and macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese. That sounds good. Why don't we do that? We're not doing that. Why aren't we doing that for New Year's? That's right, because we're doing black eyed peas and collard greens. That's why. All right, so got that trussed up. That way it'll maintain the shape. This one should be okay. Well, this is going to be for the grill anyway. This one we probably should truss up as well. Let me go ahead and cut some more off. right, so I'm gonna vacuum bag these up. You could put them in, you could wrap them in cellophane and put them in the fridge. You just want to make sure you put them in something that, if anything, because they will seep moisture out as the salt expands, so you want to have it where that doesn't drip on anything in the fridge. But I vacuum bag them, that way it doesn't drip, and that way it also holds all the air, it takes all the air out of it, and that way you don't lose any of that moisture at all, and all that flavor just has all that time to sit and soak up into these pieces of meat. So we'll catch back on the New Year's to smoke these up. So can't wait to show you guys. Happy New Year, everyone. All right, guys, well, welcome back. It's the next day already. We've let this marinate overnight. We vacuum bagged it. You can see here we got all our pieces in here that we did. So it's been at least 24 hours. So now we're going to pull these out and get them on the grill. We have our smoker up to about 300 degrees, 250 to 300. We're going to try and stay in that range. 250 the lowest, 300 the highest. The higher you go, the faster to go, but also the more chances you have of overcooking it. So, but anyway, let's pull these bad boys out. Take a look. They got a nice, good dark color on them after they've been sitting in the marinade for a while. So we got know that seasoning and the marinade and all that stuff penetrated really well. They smell amazing coming out of here. Oh. So by vacuum bagging, you get rid of all the oxygen in it, and you let all that stays in there is the juices and stuff. Like, you know, I let it go till it starts sucking the juices out of the bag, and then seal it before the juice gets to the edge of the bag. So, I mean, that just looks amazing, color-wise. All right, so now we're going to put this on the smoker and let it ride. We're going looking for an internal temperature of 122 to 127 before we pull it. It'll go up to about 130 to 135 at the most, depending on how hot you run your grill. So here we go. All right, we're going to check back in on a little bit and see what they look like in about 10 minutes. Hey everyone, so since this was a New Year's cook, I'm going to review a few things that happened last year, and kind of give you an idea of what we're planning to do with my chow line going forward. So let's get into it. I'm gonna have a nice 50 cal Garrison Warfighter tobacco cigar. Good cigars. So the year 2024 is over. We're in 2025 now. I want to thank you, everyone, who has been a part of this journey so far. My chow line got kicked off in the summer of 2024, and you know, with my round canopy parachute team, my chow line has really appreciated everything that RCPT has done. All the members of RCPT, just their generosity and encouragement through this time. But the last few months have been what I really want to talk about. Is the year was awesome. We got to go to Europe for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Got to jump into Normandy. Shout out to my brother Peyton for making that happen. My brother Alex over there in England for helping us with transportation and with just being a boots on the ground for us and being part of it with us. Giving us a tour of London. But that was an amazing event. Met some awesome people. Made some great contacts. But fast forward to September, the end of September, Hurricane Helene. We really weren't prepared for what would happen. We were expecting wind and rain. As with most hurricanes that hit the coast, especially when they come on land on the side of Florida that they came on the Panama City beach side in the Gulf, by the time the storm gets us, it's a tropical depression. We get some wind, but we won't get, you know, catastrophic wind. Well, I woke up the morning of the 29th of September to trees falling down all around us. Neighbors' houses getting crushed by trees. Roads are blocked, power's out, cell phones go down. My county, we had power was out for over 8 days for the entire county. Cell phones were out for 7 or 8 days. It came on right about the same time the power did for us. We were some of the first to get it since we were in town. And I mean, we drive around still, and there's houses that haven't even had the roofs repaired yet. They still have tarps over them. They're still picking trees up off the side of the road. They got the trucks running. They're estimating not being able to be done with picking the trucks up, picking the trucks picking up the all the down trees and stuff that people have cut up and put on the side of the road, probably till April at the earliest. North Carolina got devastated for sure, but Helene left a path of destruction leading to North Carolina. In our area, I would conservatively estimate that we lost 30% of the trees all around us. I mean, private land, public land, anywhere in between, 30% of the trees. I know several families who lost their entire houses destroyed. Several people were killed laying in bed. Several that had close calls laying in bed. So that was rough. So we had an opportunity during that time to see what we were made of, as far as my family and I, and see what I was made of. See how God blessed us and took care of us and protected us. I have a tree over the top of my shed, and I still haven't got it off yet, but it destroyed all of our Christmas, all of our baby pictures from the kids. Keepsakes and stuff are gone. Lost the pop-up that was over my cooking area and some of the stuff in our yard, and but that's little compared to some others that have lost a lot more. So once I knew that my family was safe, we knew power was going to get restored anytime soon. So we started figuring out what to do with all our food in the freezer. I didn't have a generator, so we were starting to think about cooking and giving away food to people who had a way to cook but didn't have any food. So we started handing out water and stuff to people and handing out food and canned goods to folks, because we live in an area where there's a lot of people that it's a lower income area. It's a very rural county. We're the biggest town in that county, and it's still a very, very low income town. So the family and I, we began a mission of trying to help just take care of our neighbors right around us with water, ice, and charcoal for those that needed to cook things and try to feed their families. Ice to help keep what they do have cold, and then charcoal to help cook whatever they have. And water, of course, because we didn't know how long the water was, if it was going to be, we're going to be able to have clean water. We still had water in the house, but we didn't have power. So fortunately, we could still flush toilets. We could still fill up water bottles, we had filters and stuff. But anyway, so we go on that mission and we start making runs out of town, because we have to travel probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half to the nearest town that would have power and then had supplies. And then by the next day, we had to go even further out because everybody was doing the same thing. We couldn't get gas locally. All the gas stations were down except for they were opening up and selling stuff off their shelves for cash only. They couldn't process debit cards, so if we didn't have cash, we couldn't buy it. So we were going out where we could get to stuff. And then we started bringing ice and charcoal and water back for folks. And then we started thinking about the kids. And I started thinking about the kids. And my wife helped me with it. Start coming up with ideas to help feed some of these kids, because the kids don't get a choice in the hurricane. Parents have a choice on what they can do, but the kids don't. So we started making sandwich and snack packs for the kids and start handing them out when we hand out the water and ice and charcoal. And then we met an amazing man, Charles West, Thompson Pop Warner. He had about 15, 20 kids in his front yard when we met him. He took the last of the sandwich packs for those kids. Those kids ate them up. And then he took the last bag of charcoal I had that day. And he was trying to grill up some food for those kids. All the neighborhood kids. So I asked him if he would help us if he'd be willing to help cook and feed some of the families, if we could find some people together to help cook and feed some of the families. Because I knew I had a couple of grills here, but I couldn't feed everybody, so I was trying to get a number of people together to help. And he was like, well, we've been talking about it, but it's all been talked up until now. So we partnered with him and a couple other of the coaches and one of the other church. I didn't know he was a pastor at the time, but he's a pastor of River of Life Church here in Thompson. And he gathered his guys together, his coaches, and a couple of people from another church, Rocky Branch Baptist Church in Warrenton. And we began to try and feed as many people as we could. And if you follow my Instagram, I don't know if I posted it on YouTube, but if you follow my Instagram, we had first day I think we fed about 300 people, and we had to turn people away because we ran out of food. And that was it felt good to feed that many people, but it also was disheartening when we had kids and moms and parents showing up with hungry kids. Some of them hadn't eaten in 2 or 3 days. So we made another trip out of town to pick up more supplies, and you guys, the Round Camp Parachute Team guys, and some other generous donations helped get us. We were able to buy enough supplies the next time, and people donated stuff too. A lot of people donated stuff too. We were able to feed 1,200 people the next day. Now we're talking a hamburger or a hot dog. We're not talking like a 4-course meal or anything like that, but sustenance. Because sometimes some of these folks, they didn't have anything, or a way to cook it, or didn't have a lot of provisions. A lot of kids in this area, they only eat when they're at school. If they're at home, the parents don't have enough to feed them all the time, or more than one meal a day. So we were trying to help supplement that. But anyway, that led on to us doing it a few more times and handing out stuff and giving out diapers. And I had family members came down from Atlanta and generously donated their time and supplies as well for us to donate diapers and formula and just all kinds of stuff that we could give out to the community. And then school started to open back up, and people's power had been restored, and things started getting back to normal, but we're still feeling the effects. Families are still struggling. So we knew Thanksgiving was coming. So my sister, who runs a nonprofit in Florida, Katie, Save the Closet is the name of the nonprofit down there. She partnered with us, and she came up for Thanksgiving. And the day before Thanksgiving, we served 600 plates of Thanksgiving meals, and she serviced 600-ish people with free clothing. A shopping experience for them. And so we were able to make an impact in our little community here. We'll never know the impact we fully had, which is, I think, the right way. Because if we ever really know what's going on, then it takes away from it. I think we'll find out in glory when we're with Jesus. We'll find out what impact we had. I know we made one. But again, we did that, and then we partnered with those churches again. They partnered with us, and they offered to bring me in on one of the things they do every year. They do a Christmas cook, where they give away Christmas meals on Christmas Day. They take them primarily to shut-ins and to the care homes where people don't have families that come visit them. And then we also some people in the community as well that receive meals and stuff because they don't have anybody or don't have a way to get food. So we helped with that. It was an amazing time. We had tons of food donated, generous donations as well, and it was just an amazing time. We worshiped, we hung out by the grill, we talked. It was a good time. And then we have New Year's, and now we're here. And this New Year's cook was for my family, but I wanted to share it with you guys. Beef tenderloin. It's not a traditional New Year's, but we wanted to try something new. Anyway, but moving forward, my Chow line, some things we have in the works. Going to be continuing to make videos, continuing to record stories from veterans, get their stories, sharing the legacy of veterans, meeting new veterans, meeting some new opportunities to cook with other veterans, to eventually continue with the nonprofit, because the nonprofit was originally created to help educate and to help teach barbecue, outdoor cooking, fire cooking to veterans. That's the ultimate goal. Create a barbecue cook camp where veterans can come and hang out for a weekend or a week or whatever it is we've able to get it resolved to, and learn different skills about how to cook or improve the skills they already have. Get some practice in, and maybe give away a few things as well. But that's the ultimate goal. This year, I'm planning on trying to reach out more to the community, to veterans, trying to touch more veterans' lives. Going to be participating in some events. So I'm looking forward to some of those. I can't say what those are yet because they're not solid yet, so I don't know if they'll happen, but I'm trying to. And then I just want to invite you guys to follow along as we explore some new things. I have a plan for Memorial Day this year, in May, or March, May. Sorry. I have a plan for Memorial Day in May, and I'm going to start getting the word out here in the next month. But be looking for that. If you know any veterans who lost their lives in the service of our country, I would like to remember them, and I would like to share their name and a little bit about them that'll be preserved online, digitally, so that people can hear their story and hear their names, to acknowledge their sacrifice for their brothers and sisters in arms, and for their nation, and for their families. So yeah, be thinking of that. I'll post a thing. If you have a story, I want to try and get it out there for them. Also, I'd like to continue to share veterans who have served and are serving, some of their stories and what their life is, so that way they're not forgotten as well, and help show that the military is not all that bad, even if it is sometimes, but that there are good things that come out of it, good experiences, even if the food sucks. But that's kind of why we're here. We ate all that military food. Now we want to actually have real food, real good food. So anyway. Yeah, thanks for being a part of it, and I can't wait to see what 2025 holds, all the opportunities we're going to have to continue sharing good food, sharing stories, sharing the legacy, and may God richly bless your lives. Cheers. All right, so these have been on probably 10-15 minutes now, and the two smaller ones here, the other small one I already pulled off because it already got to temperature really quick. So these two are about 120. I'm gonna pull them off, and I'm actually gonna sear them a little bit since they're so small. They're not getting as much. So I started a little charcoal grill going so I could sear the edges off, get a little color on the outside of them, and I'll do the same thing with the bigger tenderloin as it gets closer. But I'm going to move it over and I'll show you that. And when we pull these off, we will wrap them in foil and set them to the side so they can rest indirect on I'm not closing the lid on this grill, so there's not going to get any more heat. It's just staying in the warming area. But I will wrap these in the foil, and then we'll cut them up and slice them up to show everybody. All right, we're gonna sear these off. See how you get some good color on them right there? Just putting them on there just for a little bit. Just getting them enough color on them. They're at like 122 internal. So searing them off, they'll probably raise it up to about 130. We'll pull them off, they'll be about 135 when they rested. So they will be a good medium rare, and we don't want to take them any further than that. All right, so we got it to an internal temperature of 125 before I pulled it and seared it off. And when I checked it while I was searing it off, just before I pulled it off, it was like 130. So it's rested now. It's been resting for about 5 minutes. We're going to wait a little bit longer. In just a second, I'll slice it open. We'll show you what we got on the inside. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take the strings off carefully. Get down in there. Oh, there it is. Because the strings were just there to kind of help hold it together while it cooked, keep it in that round shape. Because when it's with tender meat like that, it will take its own shape once the weight of it will just smoosh it down. So this thing smells amazing. All right. I know the family's inside ready for this, ready to serve this up. All right, so we're going to do a slice down the middle so you see what the middle looks like. Do a reveal. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up, but that looks like a perfect medium rare right there. Pink in the middle. And we're going to slice a piece of this off. Just look at that. Take a piece of that middle section there. Oh my goodness. That right there. Oh, this is so good. Okay. I've never wanted to kiss a cow more than right now. This is so good. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna let my camera operator try a little piece. Tender, juicy, salty, savory, peppery.
Very juicy.
Juicy. Okay. Well,
Gotta say something for the family though.
Yeah, we gotta get this inside before it cools off. It's starting to cool off out here. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for talking while chewing, but see y'all next time.